finally coming around to doing this. I said I was going to, and it's about damn time I am. But I'm talking about we're going to review Classroom Elite Volume 4. We finally are. I said I was going to do this like back in, I don't remember when I said I was going to do this. I forgot. It was some video I made, and I said I was going to eventually do it. I think it was like an update video or some shit. I don't fucking remember. It was some shit. But yes, I'm finally getting around to it. So this is going to be a little bit different because there's a lot of people that have made videos reviewing this or talking about this. So I'm going to give my opinion, and like I'm going to briefly go over the story, but I'm going to talk about other stuff because you can find probably a video where somebody like goes into detail like each page and shit like that on YouTube. And you know how I am with my like explaining shit. So yeah, just know I might fuck up some names because shit like that happens. So just bear with me. If you hate the name, you can put in the comments, but just don't be a asshole about it. Be like, yo, why do you keep messing up all these names and all? Just know it happens. People mess up names. It happens. So without the way, let's get into this. Just know there are going to be spoilers. So if you were planning on reading this, just know there's going to be hella spoilers because I'm going to go over like all the stuff, outcomes, and other shit that sets up for the future and shit like that. But also, I guess I would say, if you watch the anime and you want to know what happens like literally after, then this is like the perfect thing because I'll tell you some of the stuff that happens. And yeah, without the way, let's get into it. So this light novel is very interesting because I feel like this is like literally where Classroom Elite becomes like as good as it is, because like the first 3 volumes were just like setup volumes, but this is when it like actually becomes good and you actually learn more shit. Yeah, and I think like the end of volume 3 was really like towards like halfway in, like you learn and then you're like, oh, this is what Classroom Elite's about. But like this sets up the shit and like you really like get to know what Classroom Elite's about. So where this takes place off, just a little brief, we have a little brief story and then I'll go into different stuff. This basically takes place like 3 days after the island are on the ship, and like as they've literally been relaxing and shit like that, but they randomly get this text telling them they have to be at this certain place, and everybody gets split up into these groups, and we get into like the next big exam, and it's called the Zodiac test. And the reason why it's called that because you have all the different zodiac animals like rabbits, tigers, dragons, rats, stuff like that, all those and all the other ones, and they each get separated and all that into those. And then like you have these tests. The tests are really interesting because in the groups they're in, you have to find the VIP. And like I find that very interesting because like there's a lot of different there's 4 different outcomes that can happen. Either everybody in the group they answer the same question or say who the VIP is, and like the VIP tells them that's outcome 1. Outcome 2 is that somebody, like everybody or somebody in the group, like answers it wrong or whatever, or like they don't answer it at all, some shit like that, something around there, and like the VIP wins because somebody like doesn't answer it or some shit like that. Outcome 3 is like when somebody that answers it before the time, because there's like a certain time. And I think, yeah, outcome 2, my bad, is like when like the time limit comes on the final day, somebody answers it wrongly, so the VIP gets all this money. And then outcome 3 is when like you have this time limit or whatever before the final day, and a person answers it incorrect. And then you have outcome 4 where a person answers it correctly before the time limit and all that. There's a lot of different shit. Like there's 4 different outcomes and shit like that, but you're trying to find who the VIP is. Either you're gonna like be with the VIP and everybody chooses the VIP that everybody wins, or you're gonna be a person that guesses wrong on the final day, or you're gonna be somebody that guesses wrong a day, like days in advance, or somebody that guesses correctly and then you win, shit like that. But what this really sets up is like you're gonna get more class points, and people are gonna get hella fucking the school points. That's basically what this test really does. But the test is interesting because this sets up a lot of different stuff for the future. So one of the main things is in the dragon group. That has where all the real niggas that you think are like all the leaders and stuff like that. Like has Horikita, Ryuen, the bald dude from class A, and then like you have I forgot what his name is, the dude from class B, but it doesn't have Ichinos or however you say her name. They don't have her in there. She's in the group with Ana Koji. So there's that group, and that's the group everybody's been looking at and watching. But the one thing that happens there, and this is a big spoiler, so like I said, if you're in this for right now, then you're in here. So one of the things that happens is you find out that there's a traitor in class D, but you don't know. I mean, technically we know who it is, but you're supposed to not know who it is at the time, but you're gonna learn, I think, in the next volume. But that's basically what you learn in this, because like the way that class C1 is like, it's kind of interesting the way they won, and like it brings in question into a certain character that's in the group with Horikita. So like it brings like a certain little question thing. So that's one thing that happens with this test. Like that's like the little brief stuff that happens. There's more, but you got to read the volume to figure out all the other stuff. But another thing that happens is I forgot how you say his name exactly, but it's like Kayuin or something like that. I'm not sure exactly. It's the one dude that's rich and he has blonde hair. It's the big rich blonde hair dude that's in Class D. He literally on the first day, he literally answers the person who was supposed to be like correctly, and like he ends his group that he doesn't have to do them stupid ass group meetings. He's done, and like what that does is it sets up for the future that like he's really good at observing people and figuring people out like that, and like you realize like he's actually really smart and he could be a crazy good asset for Class D in the future. That's one thing that happens, but the main thing that happens in this volume that is actually really interesting, and it sets up shit towards the future, and it also does something for like the next volume, which is 4.5, that does something that the anime covered what they did wrongly. But the main thing of this volume, in my opinion, is Kei, Under Koji, and then Hirata, or however you say his name. I forgot exactly how you say it. Just know I say shit wrong, but yes, it's mainly those three. The two big things that you learn is that Kei and Hayata, I forgot exactly how you say his name. I'm sorry. I know I need to stop. Let me just say it. But yes, you find out that their relationship is fake. That like it's super fake, and like it's just something that he does that he can protect Kei. And then like another thing you learn is that Kei is a person that's been bullied a lot, and Under Koji finds that out because you have girls from class C that literally mad at her because she literally like picked on like a person from their class, and then like that happens, and then Under Koji sets up a thing that he can like take Kei and like basically manipulate her and make her his like ally and shit like that. And like it's very interesting because like she becomes like a really good ass ally for him, because like she's like the first person that knows like what he's actually like, because Horikita doesn't really know what he's actually like. She actually knows what he's actually like. So like he has her, and now that's gonna be his ally, and like that's what I really like, because like that sets up as like damn, like it's shown that he can at least like trust somebody, at least have some type of trust and get his own ally and show somebody like his real side, because he Under Koji rarely does, like especially in the first 3 volumes. That's why like in volume 3, like when you find out his real nature, you're like, oh shit. That's why in this one it sets him, you're showing that he's showing somebody else who it is, and like he actually trusts Kei way more than Horikita and finds her like being like way more useful. Because honestly in this volume it sets up another thing of showing that Horikita's really useless on her own. Because she is. Because like this volume really does set that shit up. Because like in her group, the way she handled herself in her group, it really shows that she's useless without him. Without Under Koji like leading her on and like showing what she needs to do and shit. And like that's one of the things that you're going to see a lot and recurring, especially in all the volumes until you get to the second year. Second year she's kind of becoming more useful, I'll put it that way. But yeah, the main takeaway of this volume is that Kei and Under Koji have this relationship where Under Koji literally just uses her not really as a pawn. It would be more like as he's just somebody that he can find that's like helpful, so it's like an ally. He kind of gets an ally, but just know like he really doesn't like care about nobody, but there's like a little ally that he has, like somebody that can always help him out, and like that's really dope, and I really fucked with it just because it was interesting. And also you learn about her bullying, because like it does have some crazy shit with her bullying, and like there is some interesting scenes that get there. But yeah, she has some like crazy ass scars on her body from like bullying. It's like damn, she went to a school and she got like fucked up. Like that's one of the things you learn in this. But besides that, it sets up literally all this like stuff that needs to like be seen towards the future and shit like that. So it's a really good volume. I actually enjoyed this shit. Like out of all the ones, I'll say it's the best out of the first 3. But as we go on, you're gonna know that each volume gets better and better. There is like a certain volumes I tell you that are kind of just like a whatever type of volume, but I'll put this as like, this is for the first years, this is like pretty decent. Probably once we get done with the first year volumes, I'll probably like rank them like what order I would put them in, like when we finally get done. Because this one, I don't know, this is like, let's see, out of 10 I would give this about an 8.5. I would say that's how good this one was, give or take. Or yeah, I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Because there's still like so many other volumes. Like I'm thinking like volume 8 is crazy. Like there's still a lot of volumes where a lot of shit happens, and I think volume 5 is crazy too. There's still a lot of the first year that a lot of interesting things happen. So this is, I just give this a middle of the pack with an 8. I'll say 7.5 to 8 where this volume would be, but it's really good. So you need to read this, especially if you watch the anime and you want to know what else happens. Read this shit, because like this shit actually sets up like shit, and you'll be like damn. And like this is the volume that made me really go like damn, Classroom Elite is like really good. Because like I read the first 3 volumes, I'm like yeah, this shit is good, and it's like yeah, and I'm like oh, I see the differences, because I was comparing it to the anime. I was like oh, I see the difference. But volume 4, bruh, this really is the volume that made me love Classroom Elite's light novel. It's because, like, bro, I read that shit and I was like, damn, and I was like, shit. Like, it really is. Like, it is. So, yes, I really enjoyed this volume. And if you read this volume, let me know in the comments how you feel about Volume 4. If you haven't read it, read it. Please read it. If you're planning on reading Classroom Elite, let me know in the comments. But, yeah, I really do enjoy this volume a lot. And I think it's pretty decent, especially for the first year ones. It's like, it's up there, in my opinion, as one of the most interesting ones. But, like I said, as you go on and through the first year, the volumes get better and better. So, yes, this was my review of it. Like I said, I was just skimming over stuff because I didn't really want to go into detail because, you know, sometimes there is, especially like with books like this, there is a lot of fluff in every single book. But, I mean, there's important details. I just didn't want to do, like, no crazy long-ass synopsis. I just wanted to go into little bits of detail that if somebody's going to read this, they can go into. There just no little bits and all that. But, yeah, I just wanted to go all the main stuff. But yeah, hey, it was a really good volume. If you guys really like videos like this, maybe I'll continue it. If you really, really like it and this video does well, maybe in December I'll do volume 4.5. And like, we just go over that, even though technically that gets covered in the anime, but we can discuss it. We can have a conversation. We have a dialogue about it. But yeah, if you enjoyed, you like the video. If you didn't, you can dislike, subscribe if you really enjoyed. And if you're new to the channel, hey, subscribe. We make a lot of different content here. Classroom Elite, Comedy to Kill, all different types of anime. I also have a quote-unquote podcast on the channel. But yeah, I mainly talk about so many different animes. I do watch lists and other stuff like that. So yes, if you're new, maybe you should subscribe if you actually like the video and all that. But yeah, if you enjoyed, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video. Bye!